Hi folks, this is an update to the Wolf microwave hack that I showed you in a previous video. I just wanted to show you what's going on. So basically, if you remember, the issue with the microwave was it would look like it was running. Even the convection oven looked like it was running. The heat of the fan would, the fan would turn on, the light would go on, the turntable would spin, but there would be no heat. And you could be in there for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. You'd have no idea. It looked like it was working. And then when you open the door, it was not hot at all. And so I needed a way to determine where the fault was. So I decided to wire in a couple of lights. These are just indicator lights, 125 volt indicators. And they're in parallel. One is wired to the microwave transformer. So I know that the transformer is getting power. And the other one's going to the convection oven coil. So I know that the convection oven coil, the heating element, is getting power. The way I did that was, if you look here, these are relays on the control board that essentially go off to either the convection oven here or the microwave is controlled by this transformer here. So this brown wire that I've connected here in parallel, essentially if this circuit is on, this brown wire sees voltage and it goes through here and out to this red light, which is convection oven. If the transformer sees voltage, this blue wire here, which is, I've basically piggybacked onto this connector with a double, goes through this here and ends up going to the green light, and that sees voltage and it turns on. And of course, the common ground, the green here, just goes back to this common ground transformer that I picked up on here. I could have found any common ground, but I decided to use that one, and it's double connected on there too. So that's essentially it. Now, the issue lies in the door, because when I press in this mechanism here, okay, you can see somehow it's pushing on these switches. Now there are 4 switches, one here, you can see. There's one right over underneath it. So there's 2 here. 1, 2, I'll just zoom in here. I ended up putting in a plate here. I don't know if you can see this, but this switch broke when I was trying to remove it because the plastic broke. And so this switch here, I put a little stopper here, otherwise it was rotating up and down. You can see it's a little loosey-goosey. And then this switch here. And then on the bottom door part, you can see there's 2 switches. There's one here, right there. And there should be another one somewhere. There should be another one somewhere. There's 4. So, oh, there. That's the 4th one here, okay? So this here, when this door is opened, it lifts that right there, you see? Now I have a feeling that maybe that switch has an issue with it, because when I lift that up, when I press this button in a bit, right here, sorry, this guy here, it activates the microwave. So if that switch has an issue, it's normally closed. So, I mean, doing this shouldn't actually turn it on. I'm gonna test it by actually putting my voltmeter across, my continuity meter across all of these, and seeing what happens when I lightly depress the button, if it changes the status of any switch. But that basically, you see, it lifts also this part here. I'm gonna zoom in. Can I focus there? You see there's a little plastic tab, but it just slightly moves, but not by much. And on this side here, on the top, you can't really see anything. There's one there. You see, it barely moves. And there's one more over here, which is under here. You can't really see it. Oh, there it is. You see that right there? So that could be the culprit here, because that's a normally open. This guy here is normally open, and it's the one with the little plate, and it's a little wobbly. So it could be that this one here is the culprit. So anyway, one of these 4, when this door is pressed in slightly, is actually moving enough to change whether it's on or off. And if I can determine which one that is and switch it, no pun intended, with a good one, then hopefully we can solve this issue, and I don't have to put this tape, basically this extra pad here that kind of depresses everything down a little bit. So let's try that out, and I'll be back in a few minutes and let you know how it worked out. And just by the way, if you want to see around this inside of this thing, here's a good chance. There's a fan here, okay, that blows air through the, there's the vent here. This door actually opens and closes. See, it's got a little thing that opens and closes here with a motor. That's some kind of a, so if your microwave is completely dead, you might want to check out your thermal cutoffs. There's one here. There's another one on the top here, right over there. This little guy. And there's some kind of sensor here. I believe that's it. This is the other side of the microwave. Oh, there's another cutout here, I think. This is the convection oven fan, and that's the motor for it here. And the actual element is here. You can see it comes in here and it comes back out here. And it basically follows this U that you see in there. And yeah, there's another cutoff. So if you find that it's not working, I would just check all the continuities off of these thermal cutouts first to see if maybe they've popped. And that'll give you an idea if your microwave's completely dead. But in my case, this microwave was not dead completely. It was just I isolated it to the door because that was the only thing that was causing the issue, and I can solve it by pressing in lightly. So it's got to be one of these 4 switches. What else do we have here? There's the turntable motor is underneath the microwave. I'm not going to show you that now because I have to lift it. This is the transformer that goes to the microwave. There's a huge cap. Danger, don't touch this thing, especially if you haven't discharged it. And the magnetron is in here. And this is the sort of the reflection chamber that comes up and goes through there. So that's essentially inside a Wolf. Now, I believe somewhere in here, there were a lot of sharp components. And even though Wolf is, well, supposed to be its own brand, it could be using a mostly sharp stuff. I think I remember seeing sharp labeled components in here, but I could be wrong. Right now, I can't detect anything saying sharp on it, but that was my impression. Is there anything here? There might have been on the service manual. Anyway, if it's not sharp, then it would be Panasonic. I mean, there's only a few major brands out there that made this kind of stuff. But anyway, I'll be back in a minute and we'll see if we can fix this thing. Okay, so I have my meter here. You can see it's sent to continuity mode and it makes noise if I touch the things. Okay, and now we're gonna test out these switches. So I'm gonna try to do this with one hand while I'm holding the phone. So this is going in there. And this one, you can see that when I touch that, it's continuous. So that's a normally closed. So if I put that there, let's try. Okay, and watch. I'm gonna press on the door here. Okay, not doing anything. And when I open the microwave, it obviously opens there. So that one is not responsible for doing anything, okay? Let's get that out and try the next one. So we'll put this in here. Okay, and the other probe, try to rest it here somehow. That's another normally open. Here. Sorry, I know it's a little bit, I wish I had alligator clips, honestly. Remind me, I'm gonna make some alligator clips and wire it to probe leads, to multimeter leads, because that will help a lot. I can just clip on stuff. This is really annoying. Okay, anyway, it's sitting there now. No. Okay, watch. I'm playing with the switch. Nothing until I open the door. Sorry. Anyway, if I open the door, nothing. Okay, and if I close the door, oh, come on. There. Anyway, the point is that playing around with the with that one doesn't do anything. Let's go to the next one, which is right here. This is normally open, so it shouldn't beep at all when the door is closed. Okay, so that is, you can see nothing's happening when I touch it. This one will be tough to measure. Okay, here, see if that works. Okay, again, I'm playing with the door and I open it, and now you can see it makes noise. That's normally open. I'm gonna close the door. See? And it's off. And now it's on. So that works fine. And also when I play with the door, nothing. And then we go to our last one here. This is normally closed, so it will beep as soon as you touch it. Or actually, will it beep? It should beep as soon as you touch it. But again, it's hard to control this thing, sorry. I'm gonna have to find a way. Okay, anyway, I'm touching it there. It's basically it's not working. So this is supposed to be normally closed, which means it should be making a sound. So this could be the culprit here, because as you can see, this is supposed to be like the other two, making a beep when the door is closed, which means that everything's fine. And this one here is normally open, so it shouldn't beep when the door is closed. And this one should be beeping when the door is closed, which the door is now, but you see it's not. When I press here a little bit, you see? That's why I have this here, because when I press that a bit, it activates the switch. And that's the problem. You can see this here is the culprit. And look, nothing's even moving there. Like that shouldn't be open. Look, here, let's zoom in. Okay, this switch, normally closed. You can see it says NC right there. Look, I barely opened it. And it's not, it should be closed still until it opens like that. That's open. That is not open, right? That, like, obviously not good. And that's, yeah. So we basically found our defective switch. It was the bottom one. And I happen to have another one, so I'm gonna take it out and replace that one only because it seems to be the only issue. And that should fix it. Okay, so these are the replacement switches. They're pretty much standard for microwaves. You can see here, they're good, the same rating. They should be able to handle the same amperage, and they run at the same volt. So here's one there, you can see. So they come in a 3-pack, 2 open, 1 closed, or yeah, or two closed, 1 open. Let me just see. You can see by these where these tabs come in, you see there, this has 2 and that has 1. So you can kind of choose what you want here. If you cut off or use one of the leads versus the other, you can choose if you want open or close. But basically that's it there. So this should be pretty much a direct replacement for that, I hope, unless, yeah, I flip it around this way. And you can see it's the bottom lead. That's the bottom lead. See, normally open. Is that a normal open? I can't tell. Or normal closed. Normal closed. And that is normal closed. Anyway, it should be the same thing, but basically I put that in, it'll line up to the same holes. And then this one, of course, the minute you press it down, it should work. So here, let's try that out. Let's zoom in. I'm gonna put my my multimeter on this thing again. Sorry, I wish I had clips. this is one there, and the other one here. Okay, here we go. See, the minute it presses in, it works. Okay, so we'll see how this is functioning and then decide how to get it to work. But basically, that's it. Okay, so I'm gonna try to remove this switch at the bottom here. I've got the light on, and hopefully you can see this. Here, it's gonna have to be like that. That's the best I can do. I don't want to open the whole door assembly, so we'll see if we can bend this somehow. There should be enough flexibility to get this thing out of that and bend this down. Come on. It's a pain getting these out without cracking the plate. Okay, it should swing down. That one doesn't do anything. Oh, there's one at the back. That's what it is. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to unscrew the door assembly because there's a little hook. You see this hook here at the back? There's one on this one underneath, and it's very hard to see it, and I have to somehow get under and bend it back, and then that will allow me to pull this down, and I don't want to break it. That's what happened to my other one. Okay guys, so I removed the door switch assembly. That's it right there. It was basically like down in here, right, next to the door, and you know, going in behind here, okay? And essentially these two hooks here, those two were butting up into these switches here, one there and one there, and then I guess the button thing was there, and there was another interlock or some kind of a switch here. Now you can see this is my own doing. When I removed this one, what ended up happening was the plastic tab that held it in broke right over there. You see, that piece is broken. So in order to keep this thing from falling, because it would rotate down, right, along that pivot, I added this here. So I had some extra piece from IKEA. I found that the metal was, or the plastic was the best over there in that portion, and I create a little sort of like an L-shaped bendy thing there, and that does the work, okay? So this is normally, I believe, open, and so when the door is closed, it beeps. This is normally open. When the door closes, it presses on that interlock there, the hook, you see? Because it's shaped like an L, like a hook, one pushes this way and one pushes down. So it's got two. That one gets pressed in and that one gets pressed down. So these are both normally, what does it say there? Normally closed, normal open. Yeah, when you press it, it gets, it doesn't beep anymore. So it becomes open. Otherwise, they're normally closed. This one here, on the other hand, has to be pressed in, okay, in order to not beep. If it's open, like that, the contact is closed, you see? So normally open when it's pressed in. So out of the three, these two will beep when it's the door's closed. This one will stay open when the door's closed, and this one should beep when the door's closed. But as you saw, that is flaky. I want to get this out by pulling on this tab. It has a long arm, right? But the plastic is extremely brittle. So if I push on this too hard, you see how much I have to move it in order to get it out? in order to, and then to this thing. Now in the past, I've actually got it out a little match or lighter, and I've held it under here and melted a little bit the plastic to soften it up so I could open this up. I'm gonna try to see if I can do this without breaking this tab, because it's a pain in the ass to try to, you know, get this fixed after. I'm gonna have to rig up something like this, which took me a while, but let's see, and then I'll take it out and we'll do some testing on it. Okay, so I managed to get it out. It was actually surprisingly easy. Once I was able to get my hands on here, it swung out, and you can see it doesn't look very happy. Look how burned it looks in there. Yeah, so that's, look at this. It almost looks like it partially melted. And because of the heat, the tab, the contact slid open. You see? It's like the plastic melted and it was able to shift. Look at that. So this is a done deal. This is a bad switch. Okay, let's look for one that's equivalent. So we have one here. That's the wrong one. There, this would be roughly the same thing. You can see the holes match up, so it should just slide right into place. We've got 0.6 amp, 120 volt VDC, 0.3 amp 250, 0.3 amp 250, 250, 250, and all the requisite numbers seem to be identical. So it should do the job. Okay, so we're gonna put this in. I'm gonna see if I can find some alligator clips and we can test out the difference between these two switches to see their normal operating positions. But yeah, that should hopefully fix the problem. Okay, I managed to find some alligator clips. I've clipped it onto my multimeter leads. I've got it in continuity mode here. And if you look here, when I touch these two together, it should beep. Seriously? Come on. Sorry, it's hard to do this with one hand. Okay, so let's clip it onto the good one there. And this, remember, this is normally supposed to be open, and then, or not, hold on. Oh, sorry. I gotta hold on to this thing. 1 second. It's hard to do this one-handed. Okay, give me a moment. There. Okay. Not very good, is it? Okay, anyway, that's it down. I'm gonna have to check to make sure that's that goes in enough when I close the door. Okay, anyway, let's try the other one. Do the same here. Okay. Ah, okay, see? It's flaky. I'm pushing it in all the way. Nothing. I mean, I have it clipped on. That's clipped there. Yeah, and that's clipped there. It's making good contact, but it's flaky. Probably because this lead here is half melted. I bet you it's not making contact inside. It could be burned. Okay, so there you have it. It's really, yeah, flaky. Although I don't know why it was kind of working partially. Maybe when there's like, it has a spot where it's like, there it works, and then if it goes in more, it doesn't. You see? So that's the reason why jarring the door halfway was causing that problem. Look, it's open. I get it into about here, and it's closed. And then if I do this, it's open. So there's like a tiny bit of play there where it works, and then Yeah, we don't want that. We don't want a switch that's, has 3 positions essentially. This one, at least, if I clip onto it, come on. Sorry, my alligator leads are not very good either. They're very old and they're getting crusty. Okay, this one, at least when you push it down, sorry. Okay. It's on or off. Although I have to see, yeah, there you go. So it's either in and then it stays on. That's just the leads. Off, on, and it stays on all the way in, off. It gets on about that position where I hear a click and then it stays on, you see? That's what we want. So yeah, this one is for sure dodgy. We're gonna dump it and I'm gonna go ahead and switch it and we'll see what happens. All right, folks, I just noticed something. This new switch should work fine. The only problem is if you look at the tabs, they're wider than the other ones, which means that I can't clip it on to my wires here. So I'm gonna have to take out the Dremel and essentially cut them down to size, which is a bit of an annoyance, but I can sand them down with my sanding disc and just try to narrow the tabs down. The width I'm not too concerned about. It should slide over, but it's just the square. I need to make it a little bit thinner. So we'll see how it goes. All right, so you can see I've got the Dremel disc out, and essentially what I've got to do is shave this thing down so that it basically that size. And I gotta do the same with this one. I'll try to line up the hole too, because there's a little pin that drops in the hole so that it will go in there and lock in. But yeah, I gotta shave that down. I started already cutting it a little. It shouldn't take too long. All right, folks, so I managed to file down my prongs here, my tabs, on the new switch so that it's closer to the size of the other one, so it would fit the clips. You can see now, they're the same size. But word of caution, especially using the Dremel, these things heat up a lot. You can see on my new switch, I managed to heat up this one so much that the plastic started to melt. You see that? I just tested it. There isn't an issue at all, functionality, but be careful. Because yeah, you need a lot of cooling or a better way to file these down if you're gonna have an issue. Or I would have just gotten some other leads and cut the wires and put on new tabs, new connectors, I should say. But anyway, let's test this out. I'll get the alligator clips going again. 1 second. There and there. And we'll turn on our multimeter. We're in continuity mode there. Still working fine. You can press it. You can see no issues, thank God. Should be fine for now, and if it breaks again, I'll know exactly what to do to replace the other one, and I'll try to see what millimeters the tabs are, or I'll just find some connectors and splice them in myself on the microwave. And then back to the other one, just to verify again, the old one, what was going on with it. Okay, clips on. See? Works there, and then when I press more, nothing. So it's there, and then off. I mean, another option, just if you want to think about it, is to cut this thing so that it basically goes to this state, and I would just nip that off so you can't push it in anymore. In fact, I'll do that now and have this as a backup, but basically that's another way to save this. I'll just scrape that tab down so that it's flush when it's in this position here, and not possible to press in anymore. Let's try that. All right, folks, so I managed to file down the tab, and because this switch basically is a function of on off, you know, and it just sits here, when it presses in, it's on. Now, because it's now shorter, I can't push it in any further, you see? It bottoms out there. The mechanism would stop there. If I push it in further, because my finger can actually go into the hole a bit, you can see. But normally, if it's flush, like right there, it's set. So you could, if you really wanted to cheapen out and you didn't have another switch available, or you didn't want to wait, you could potentially just file the end off, and as long as you have something flush hitting it, let's say this blade as an example, okay, if we have that hitting, and it'll stop, here we'll put it this way, if I have this blade hitting the top, it will hit and bottom out on the plastic. Watch. See? There's no more possibility to turn it off. It has two positions again. Obviously, if I use something else, like a pin, something that could push it in further, watch here, then, you know, it would do the same like before. There, it's on, and then watch, if I push any further, it turned off right there, you see? Because it's pushed in. But my mechanism has just a flat top on it, so that's a way to, sorry, hard to do this with one hand. That's a way to basically get this to work again. So I've got another backup switch here if I really need to. If I want to put that in, actually I could, but I've already modified this one, so let's give that a go. And yeah, several different options here to try. So let's give that a shot and see how it goes out. Okay, folks, I've put in the new switch. I've verified that the tabs now fit. And as you can see, the door is open. When I close the door, you'll see that the tab comes down and you've got continuity. Okay, no more flakiness like we had with the other switch. See, it's just always, until it's completely up, it's good. So that should solve the problem. I'm gonna wire it all up. All right, so I put the microwave convection oven back, and it's all plugged in, and we're gonna test it out. So let's go to microwave. For microwave, you just type in a number, like a minute. Here we go, and I hit start. And there you go, you can see that green indicator light I wired in is totally on, no problem. I open the door, at 56 seconds left. I close the door, no problem. Start, it's working. No more tape, no more, you know, pushing on this thing halfway to get it to work. All right, we'll do the same with convection. Here, convection, select temperature. It's got a bunch of presets there. And then it's gonna say enter time. Here, we'll do also a minute. There, start. All right, and there's the red light indicating that the coil, the heating element, is on. That will cycle, by the way, so it's normal while this thing is actually working for this to go on and off, because it's gonna try to set that temperature and doesn't want to overshoot, right? So just keep that in mind. But you can see it is working, and you know, when I don't have to do anything with the door, I just close it and I can continue, and it goes on right away. Switch is fixed. So there you have it. That's it. And basically that's it. I've got the old switch in here, which I can still use in a bind after we did that hack where we adjusted the top button there to push. So for, you know, a few dollars, you can fix this microwave convection oven that's over $1,000 to change. And it's a frustrating fix because when you don't get heat, you know, you have to boil it down and try to figure out where the problem is. If you have the schematic and you do some probing, you can find out where the fault is coming from. And it turns out it's just simple, very cheap switch. ridiculous fix, honestly. Just a pain in the butt to do sometimes because these are often built in and it's hard to take them in and out of wherever they're built in. But there you have it. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if it helps you fix your microwave, give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.